you so much for coming. I gotta tell you, everyone in here is a champion. You are in the right place at the right time. Thank you for coming. God wins here, but we gotta spread the message because people can keep talking about the New World Order or the puppet masters or what's at stake right now. But if you really don't understand it in the way that you can actually say it to somebody who thinks they're on the other side, it's not going to matter. Where we are right now is that there are enough American citizens that realize that there is no right and left. There is no Republican or Democrat right now in America. There is only American citizens who love this country and those who are willing to sell us out to globalist dictators that are willing to sell their souls in this country for a buck. And the good news is that the installed regime is failing on a level that has never been seen in America, but the bad news is it's by design. The good news about that is that the left and the people that voted for him do not know that. And that is where we come in. What you really have to understand is we cannot win this battle if the people do not know the war, and that is what I fear the most, is that people don't know who we're fighting. And again, by design. And what you really need to do is step back and look at your neighbors and your friends who have been propagandized and deceived to think that the enemy is within their neighborhood or in their city or in their town or even within their state or their country. The enemies are not Americans versus Americans. But right now, there are a lot of people greatly deceived by a PSYOP propaganda campaign that is nothing short. I always say Goebbels, Himmler, and Hitler are looking up from hell thinking, wow, those people in Silicon Valley are great. And that's where we are. There's one thing that I want everyone to understand and make sure that you're able to articulate it to your friends and neighbors. The first thing is we have to have compassion and love and tolerance and mercy and forgiveness for our fellow Americans wherever they fall in line right now, because we got to be able to speak to them in a way that they've never been spoken to. I don't know how many of you on the 4th of July took out the Declaration of Independence and looked at the grievances, the 27 grievances that our founding fathers made against the crown in England. But I did, and I was in New York City watching the fireworks, and thousands of people showed up cheering. And I thought, none of these people even know that we are in worse shape than we were in 1775. And that is the truth. Every one of those grievances is even worse now. And I'm one to say, you got to go back and look at history and actually learn what really happened. Because first of all, if you watch my show, you know I don't believe that the crown ever accepted the revolution happened anyway. They just went home. They said, okay, we'll let the Americans think that they won, and we'll go in and infiltrate them through the banking system and through the government and through the military and through the news and the propaganda. But even worse than that is right now, the enemy, and you got to articulate this to your friends, because this is where we can meet in the middle, is an international banking cabal that has no compassion, no mercy, no humanity, no tolerance, no conscience. And they have a very long-term plan, and you've heard a lot about it today. But I really want you to understand what is going on and who the players are. I think, do you have a slide for me? Just one? Okay, so you can go to my website. It's themelkshow.com. And this is on there. This is from a brilliant man named Ian Smith of In This Together. I have seen nobody put on paper what the New World Order, One World Government, or as Brian Deese of BlackRock admitted this week, the Liberal World Order. And no, that wasn't a mistake, because George Soros renamed it that about 10 years ago when he realized too many people were on to the One World Government plan. So don't be deceived. That was not an accident. But if you look at this screen, which you need to, this will tell you who we are fighting. And I will make it very clear to you. The public, that's us, okay? That is entire world of humanity. Gay, straight, black, white, Asian, Latino, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, doesn't matter. Everyone that they consider a useless eater, a resource, a problem for the resources because there's just way too many people, the whole depopulation, the whole myth of that we're running out of anything that God provided, all false, all set up during the Club of Rome and these groups that come out and they talk about how they need to somehow ration God's green earth, the water, the air, everything to the humans because there's just too many of us and we're causing a lot of problems for them. But it's not what they're saying, right? So there you have the public, that's us. Then you have the propagandists and the hybrid warfare specialists. That's NBC, ABC, CBS, MSNBC. I hate to say it, a lot of people over at Fox News, Newsmax. There are the fact checkers, Poynter Institute, Lead Stories, NewsGuard. They're overlords at the media. And I'll tell you, one time there was a problem that they called Mockingbird media when the CIA infiltrated the media. The problem is the CIA is now the media. So that whole idea, throw it out the window. We are at a mass psychological operation that is being conducted at the highest level that was come up with by the Satanist PSYOP head of the military named Aquino, called Mind Wars. And we are in this mind war. Next level would be the national governments. That would be the installed regime. But honestly, the truth of the matter is, the installed regime goes side by side by the scientific authorities and the health authorities and people that we really didn't pay attention to until COVID. But they had been working for about 40 years to come up with a way to have science and medicine enslave us. Weird, right? So on top of that are the people you got to know about the most, which are the United Nations, the IMF, the IPCC, the World Bank, the World Health Organization, NGOs like the Open Society and the Tides Foundation and the Human Rights Campaign and the National Endowment for Democracy, all these things that sound really good, right? Well, you be careful about that. We got the global corporations and then thousands and thousands of George Soros and other backed NGOs all over the world that do something called color revolutions, which we in America are in the middle of one right now. And the biggest problem is above them is, as we've talked about a lot today, the World Economic Forum, Council of Foreign Relations, Club of Rome, Chatham House, which is the Council of Foreign Relations, basically, of the Crown, the Rockefellers, and above them is the biggest problem of all. What you need to understand is that there are 5 oligarchs, billionaires and trillionaires in America that are running this country, and not one government official has any power right now. None of them. They are all being controlled, blackmailed, bribed. They have committed crimes, be it financial, sexual. They have been blackmailed in a ring started by Epstein and Maxwell that seems to be going away, which we cannot allow. There are 10,000 hours of footage of blackmail operation from the Maxwell family and then from Jeffrey Epstein and Maxwell that we the people deserve to see. We need to know who's on that footage. We need to know who's on the footage in the Wiener laptop. We need to know what people sold us out because they were too scared to get caught for crimes that they committed, which is what is going on. But what I do ask you is to look into the bankers in America right now. Because I will tell you right now, and they don't want you to know this, and I'm going to let you know, and then you're going to research it, and you're going to tell your friends who's running America. There's a man named Larry Fink. He runs a company called BlackRock. He thinks that he's the king of America, basically the world. Well, what people don't know about Larry Fink and BlackRock, and that he owns 90% of America and most of your pensions, is that Larry Fink thought that he was going to be Hillary Clinton's Treasury Secretary. And he set it up during the Obama administration to be just that. And then Donald Trump won. In the meantime, Larry Fink, where'd he go? Not just running all of the money in America, not just opening the only fund allowed by the CCP in China, that American money through BlackRock is being invested in the trillions. But he also joined the board of the World Economic Forum and became the architect of the Build Back Better bill. And guess what else? In January 2019, he summoned Joe Biden to his office. Joe Biden was at the bottom of the heap for all the people running for the Democratic Party. Within 2 weeks, everyone backed down and Joe Biden was in the lead. And you know what's going on now? Brian Deese and a half a dozen BlackRock people are running our economy. They are at the top level of the Treasury. Brian Deese is the one last week that talked about the liberal world order, why they need to keep slaughtering people in Ukraine that they don't care about, that they are funneling money through their $7 billion that they've already invested in Ukraine. Is anyone wondering why? No talk of peace? Well, I'll tell you why. Because that's how it's going to be. That was planned. This is about money. This is about power. And it's about the Great Reset. Well, Larry Fink, who basically has more power right now than the private Western central banks and the Fed, because he also runs Powell's money. Okay? So you really have to start looking at, where are your pensions going? Where are your IRAs going? Where are your who's investing your money, and where are they investing it, and where is it going? It has to matter. You have to look it up. Don't listen to your financial advisor or, God forbid, your union head telling you they're taking care of it, because they're selling our country out. Another man that you should know about and look into is Eric Schmidt. He was the head of Google and Alphabet. You know, he ran Google China. You know, Larry Fink is the creator of the ESG score, which is the social credit score that is about to be installed here if they get their central bank digital currency. Also Larry Fink and BlackRock and Klaus Schwab. Larry Fink is on the board of World Economic Forum, also involved in the One World Identification System that would be a track and trace and surveillance, total control monitoring of you, your family, your future, your children, and everything you do, including predictive policing. I hope you all know that it's not just digital money, it's digital slavery. But Eric Schmidt, which you don't know, I'm sure, seems to be running the entire defense contracting business. It appears that Eric Schmidt and Schmidt Futures right now has about a half dozen of his people. So we got all these BlackRock people running our economy above anyone in the government. And we have Eric Schmidt and Schmidt Futures and a bunch of people that work for him running AI, the Department of Defense, and surveillance, track, and trace technology. Okay, so where is the government in this picture? And we all know who's running medicine and big pharma and agriculture. That would be Bill Gates. And we already know that Jeff Bezos is running manufacturing and space exploration. And we know that George Soros is running the social movements that are destroying our country from the inside out. So 5 billionaires, and believe me, there's 20 more, are running this country. And all of our people, you can take down the slide after this, but see where our government fits in? They are already running this model. It is called the public-private partnership. It is out of the World Economic Forum and Davos, but the Bank of International Settlements and the central banks are above them. And it is about all of the corporations will be skipping our governments. All of the banks will be skipping our governments. Our governments of all of our nations will no longer have any power at all. So where do you think that leaves you? Where do you think that leaves any of us? The goal of the governments now that all pledged allegiance, our country pledged allegiance with John Kerry and Bloomberg and Biden and 800 people. Everyone should also look at who went to Glasgow at COP26 and pledged allegiance to the Build Back Better bill that was written by the World Economic Forum and is the same exact bill in every G20 nation. So what I'm saying to you now is when we tell you that we are in danger, we can win this battle, but not if we think we're fighting each other. And this model, they're playing it out in every country in this world, okay? So the big deal here is to sit down next to your liberal friends that have been brainwashed and say, you know what? It doesn't matter what you think about rights for LGBTQ or what they're doing to our children or what they're doing to our schools or any of that if we are all slaves. we will have no freedom, and our founding fathers will have failed because we allowed it to happen again and worse. None of these people were elected. We need to call them out by name without fear. And what you need to do is you need to look in your own community and you need to find like-minded folks. But the bigger thing is, find people that don't agree with you and ask them who's running this country. And have they heard of any of the people I just mentioned? Because I am telling you right now, we have an oligarchy here, no different than the French Revolution, and it is taking over this world, and the rest of the world is counting on America, and we're not going to let them down. We are the last bastion of freedom on planet Earth. And it doesn't matter what they say. They stole not only this election, but hundreds of them around the world. They are paying puppets, they are stealing countries, they are overthrowing regimes to keep the power of the few in the hands of a bunch of bankers that have bought and paid for most of our politicians, local to federal. So you find out where the money is going that you are investing in this country, and you change paths. We should not be giving these central bankers or any of these people 1 cent of our money if we don't have to. Invest locally. Switch to local banks that are putting money back into your community, which was what it was supposed to be to begin with. Demand that they end the Fed once and for all, and that the bankers that got away with it because of BlackRock and Obama and Biden in 2008 finally pay. Because they stole our country then and they never paid for it, and they're stealing it now because we allowed it. So please, please do your own research. Go to themelkshow.com. Resources, it's free. Find out who the enemy is and tell everyone it ain't American citizens, it is not your neighbor, it is not the person yelling about abortion down the street or fighting to keep critical race theory in the schools. It is them. They are doing it all. They know what they're doing. Divided we fall, and they know it. So let's unite like we never have before. Please keep showing up. Please know that you have the power. Please be brave. And no matter what, if you know you're being propagandized, they can't do it. Question everything. Find the facts yourself. God bless America. God wins. The rest of the world is counting on us. Do your research, share it, and be brave. Thank you so much.